What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel if you're a returning subscriber, and if you're new,
What's up?
in today's video I'm coming to you guys with my January wrap-up. So this is the beginning of the new year, the first month, and I actually ended up finishing, let me check my journal here, I ended up finishing a total of 7 books this month. So I don't think that's too bad, especially because some of the books that I did read, they were pretty thick. Like one book I think was like 500 and something pages, so they weren't no little tiny small books. But so, you know, I'm not beating myself up for just reading 7. I mean, at least I would like to read at least 10 in a month, because again, I told you guys in my Lego building video, my goal for the year is to read 100 books. That was my goal for last year, but I did not complete it, so I'm restarting it over to finish 2024 with 100 books. So we're starting off with 7, and I did have 2 DNFs. 2 DNFs not being so bad, especially because one of them, it kind of just became something like I forgot to read. You know, like I was reading it, then I just kind of put it down, and then I just never picked it back up. And then the other one, I read a pretty good length of it before I DNF'd that one, but yeah, y'all, so that happened. But anyways, let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. Also, you guys, sorry if it's a little dark, a little gloomy. It is currently a little gloomy outside. It's a little sprinkling, you know. It's giving good reading weather, if I do say so myself. So yeah, it's not the sunniest today that I'm recording this, but anyways, as you guys already know how I do my reading wrap-ups, I start off with my DNFs and then I lead my way up all the way up to my 5-star reads. 5-star reads. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the DNFs, and my first DNF of January 2024 was actually the first volume of Tokyo Revengers. Okay, like I told you guys in the beginning clip, it wasn't necessarily because I wasn't enjoying the storyline. I actually really do enjoy the storyline. It was simply, I picked this up while I was in the middle of like switching regular books, if that makes sense. Like I had finished a book and I was like, let me just in this free time that I have, read a manga real quick before I hop into another book that I was supposed to hop into. And so I just got real eager to hop into the book that I was supposed to read after the book I had finished. So while I had read like maybe 2 chapters of the first volume of Tokyo Revengers, I hopped into that book and I just kind of never picked this back up. It's not because I'm not enjoying the plot, I actually am. It's actually about this boy, or he's not even a boy, I think he's a man. Honestly, he looks really young from the cover. But I guess it makes sense now why he looks so young. But anyways, it's about this guy who pretty much has no aspiration to do anything really. He's always having to apologize at every job he has because he's not performing at the task he should be performing at. And so yeah, he's constantly always having to say sorry, and they're like, just do better, blase blase. And then he ends up seeing on the news that his ex-girlfriend that he used to date when he was in high school had been murdered. Her and her little brother had been murdered by a gang. And so something happens where his life is just really in shambles. He ends up falling on the train tracks, and I guess you could say his life flashed before his eyes. And so when that happens, he ends up going back in time to when he was in high school and when he was dating the girl. And so he ends up seeing the girl and seeing the girl's little brother. So he ends up going to the little brother and telling him, hey, you're gonna die, you and your sister are gonna die in whatever year this happens, and so just make sure you're safe and make sure you take care of her because she's a real good girl. Just make sure you protect yourself and protect her because you guys may die or are gonna die in the future. So that happens, and he also relives some other stuff that happens when he was in high school. Like it pretty much like deja vu, if that makes sense. Like he pretty much experiences everything that he did when he was younger at that time, except for warning the little brother that him and his sister are going to die. So then, of course, that little thing happens where somebody ended up saving him before he got hit by the train on the train tracks. He's in the hospital, and then the detective that comes into the hospital room to talk to him about what happened with him falling on the train track ends up being the little brother of the sister that he used to date. So he must have switched something back in past time to where the little brother did not die. Because again, before that all happened, the little brother and the sister died. But something he did in the past affected the future. So the little brother didn't die, but the sister still did. So that's kind of where I left off. At where like now the little brother's trying to talk to him like, I need your help to save my sister. I need you to do whatever you did to go back in time to save her. So yeah, that's where I left off. So obviously it's really interesting. It's definitely dealing with like time travel and stuff like that. But again, I just was really eager to hop into another book that I was ready to read at the time. So I just put this back down, and I was meaning in the month of January to pick this back up, but I just never picked it back up. So my goal is most definitely read volumes 1 and 2 in the month of February. So you most likely will see this series in my February wrap up. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers, I ended up DNFing volume 1. But again, it sounds really interesting, so of course I'm gonna hop back into it. Okay, so that was the first DNF that I had of the month. And now, for the longest time as I've been planning this video, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do the DNF for this second book. Because the thing about this is, this book that I DNF is the second book in a 3-book series. And I ended up finishing and reading the first book. So this is the second book that I ended up DNFing, and I never read the third book because I DNF'd it. So I didn't know how I was going to explain this DNF because it's not the first book or anything. But I think I'm going to just leave it short, simple, and sweet. I'm going to leave it short, simple, and sweet because, again, I did finish the actual first book. So I'll talk more about the first book and then why I kind of DNF'd the second book a little bit more in detail when I get to the first book. But just for now, the second book that I ended up DNFing January 2024 is going to be On Us by the author Nina. It's on Kindle Unlimited. That's the only place that you can read it is on your Kindle. So either you have the app or the actual Kindle itself. On Us by Nina. I DNF'd it. I actually was doing a buddy reading with two of my lovely subscribers. I'll put their names on the screen. I've shouted them out before on this channel, so they're not new. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. But we was doing a buddy read, and they ended up finishing all 3 of the books. Baby, I had to give it up. I had to put that thing down because when I say that book is so fucking toxic, I cannot. Whether it be the abuse, the cheating, the pedophilia, but bitch, it was just too fucking much for me. So I had to put the book down. I had to DNF it. Again, this is the second book in the series. I did finish the first one because the first one was kind of like, it was ghetto. Don't get me wrong, it was ghetto and it was toxic and it was all that and then some. But it was like, it was just a little bit tame. I guess because it was like the introduction to these characters. But bitch, by the time I got to the second book, I already know about these characters and it's just too much. To me, it was giving no growth at all from these characters. Like, you know how when you have a book that has so many series in it, it should be like each book they should have some type of character development. And to be honest with you guys, by the second book, and I think I DNF'd it around either 60-some%, so I read a pretty good chunk of it. Okay, I was trying to thug it out. I ended up getting to about 60-some% in the book, and I was like, there's just no character development in this book for me. Not in my speed that I need it to be for me to actually continue reading this, because it's just so fucking toxic. So again, On Us, book 2 by Nina. Yeah, I DNF'd it. I have to obviously put the picture up for you guys because I don't have a physical copy. But which is so crazy because not only do I have the first book to talk to you guys about from Nina, I have another book from her that I read in the month of January. But the thing about it is, and I try to give her slack about this series because what I found out was that this series was created in 2020 and the other book I'm going to talk to you guys about, which I really actually enjoyed, came out in 2023. So obviously that's a big gap of, you know, her developing as a writer and a storyteller. So, you know, I read that one first and then I read the 2021 On Us series after. So I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely old, because I could just tell by her writing style and like the plot and everything, this is definitely old stuff and not new stuff. But yeah, that was the second book that I ended up DNFing. So yeah, with all that being said, we got done with the DNFs, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the star rated readings that I had for January. Alright you guys, so pretty much I had some pretty good ratings, I feel like, overall. Like, I didn't, obviously the book that I didn't enjoy, which was only that one book that I DNF'd. And again, you know, with Tokyo Revengers, it was just a simple thing of me wanting to go ahead and hop into the other book I was planning on reading. So besides that one DNF of a book I just really couldn't finish because it wasn't good, I had pretty good ratings for the books that I did finish. They were pretty decent, and then I have quite a bit of 5 stars. So I feel like it was a good month overall. I really enjoyed this month. It was a great month to start off the year, you know. So yeah. But the first book that I have for you guys that is the lowest rated book that I have read in the month of January is coming in at 3 stars, and that's going to be the first volume of Yakuza Fiancé. This is by Asuka Konishi. I'm so sorry. You guys know I am terrible when it comes to names. But Yakuza Fiancé, I gave it 3 stars. I've learned my lesson when I talked about certain manga volumes on here, and you guys have always told me to at least read the second. You guys have always told me to read the second volume or the third one just to give it, like, you know, time to let it marinate. Because when you read the first volume, sometimes it could be a little deceiving, if you know what I mean. So I do plan on reading the second volume of this, even though I only gave it 3 stars. It's just the simple fact that it wasn't what I was expecting, even though I read the synopsis for this, and I can go ahead and read it to you guys as well. It says right here, Yoshina grew up the sheltered Yakuza princess of the largest crime family in Osaka, the Somei. Due to her resting bitch face and dangerous family, no man has ever approached her. When her grandfather signs a truce with the Tokyo-based Miyama crime family, he offers her up as a truce bride to the Miyama leader's grandson. Kirishima Miyama is popular, charming, and seems totally normal. But behind his smile is a violent man who thirsts for her dominance even more when she impresses him with her moxie. Even though she knows how bad Yakuza can be, she's stunned by Miyama's viciousness. She can't turn him down with the East-West peace treaty on the line, so instead she steels herself to play ball. So again, that is the synopsis of Yakuza Fiancé, the first volume. And I was expecting, even though I read the synopsis, expecting more romance. And baby, I already know it's not going to be no fucking romance in this shit. Because he's a little cuckoo for cuckoo. Okay, let me say this. First off, I love the art. I love the art. I love the drawing and the art. And I love how, because he's really, like, not a good dude. He's kind of giving, he's got split personality, I feel like, low-key. Because, like, in the beginning when they first meet, he's very sweet and such a gentleman. And he's just giving. He's giving, okay? And then and I love the art for this very reason. It's like a light switch in his head where he seems all so sweet and innocent and nice, but the drawings draw him so creepy. Like, one moment he has a nice chill, like, facial expression, and then it switches to something very dark and sinister, if I'm being honest. And when I was reading it, I ain't gonna cap, your girl got fucking chills, because the way the art is just drawn of him is so fucking creepy, because he'll look so nice and sweet, and then in the next moment he looks very fucking scary as fuck. Honestly, Yasuka Konishi, because this is also by them, they created the story and the art. Baby, you did your thing, because he looks fucking crazy in some of the scenes. Like, I would be looking at him. This is when he was putting on this facade towards her, you know, putting on this act of being like a nice, sweet, genuine guy. But then when he would, like, turn, or she would turn away from him, like, he had this weird, just blank, dead face. You get what I'm saying? Like, you ever seen somebody who just, like, smiles in your face, and then when you turn away, well, obviously you won't see that because you're not looking at them. But you get what I'm saying? Like, we've seen in movies where we as the viewer know that this person's a bad person, so they're, like, either smiling or being all nice to this certain person, but then when that certain person turns away, they show their true intentions in their face and their body language. That is very, very detailed and illustrated perfectly in this series, okay? So it's very fucking creepy. And also, she kind of low-key crazy too, because it was a scene where he finally showed his true colors to her, and he was like, listen, you're not really like, you know what I thought you were. You're actually very pretty, so maybe you should just like sell your body or some shit like that. Like he was pretty much like talking down on her, like saying she pretty much need to sell her body and she can get a good price for it, because you know, like that's all she really got going for her is her looks and shit like that. And then saying something about she should sell like her kidney or some shit like that. And I was just like, what the fuck? Because it just switched so quick. I mean, it switched definitely quick for her, obviously, because she didn't know he was about to switch up on her. But as us, the reader, we kind of knew, because he just had these scenes where he was just looking a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So, I mean, it was just shocking to see what he said and stuff like that. So when he said that, she ends up like, oh hell no, I can't do this marriage shit and everything like that. But of course, like they said, they got an East-West treaty piece on the line, so she's just like, I don't know if I can do this. And then she ends up calling her grandfather, which, let me also mention, motherfucker is a GIF. I think that's what you would call him, a grandfather. I will fuck, because let me tell you, he look good. I'm like, you sure it's your granddad? Because why they draw him like this? Why he look like a young dude just with gray hair? I don't know, he look pretty good for his damn age, if I'm being honest with you. But anyway, she ends up calling her grandfather, and he's like, listen, you gotta stay there at least for a year or something like that. And so for the longest time, he doesn't see her, and so he just assumes that, oh, she's left, she got the hint of what I was saying and just left. But then she ends up coming back, because mind you, these are also school students. Okay, they're in school, so I don't know, it's giving adult, but they're in school, so they're not technically adults. I don't know, because where the parents, I don't know. But anyways, I mean, obviously she's with her grandfather, but like for him, I think we saw his dad, but I don't think he lives with his dad. Like I think he's got his own place and stuff like that. So just like, huh, you're a high school student, but you're giving adult, I don't know. But anyways, she goes to the school after a while of not seeing him, and then she like dropped something, I think a bag, was it a bag of money or something, on his desk. And she's like, you know what, I took your advice and I sold my kidney and shit like that, or blase blase. And at first, I thought she was just fucking with him. I didn't think she was serious, that she really actually did what he said and like sold her kidney. But then we end up finding out later on, she's talking about she still has a sore from the surgery. I'm like, bitch, did you really get your kidney taken out on the black market and sell for money? Girl, you just as crazy as this motherfucker. Because I thought she was just fucking with him. She could have got some money from the bank, because you know they rich, they Yakuza family and all that stuff, so she got money. So I'm thinking she just got some money from her bank account, gave it to him, like, and then played it off as if she really got her, like, did some stuff. But no, she actually did do that. So I was like, oh, okay, she crazy too, just like him. And once she did that, he ended up just becoming in love with her. Like, again, he was treating her like shit when he finally showed his true colors, and he was just like, all you got is going for you is looks and all that shit. But as soon as she did that whole kidney thing, he was like, oh, I'm so in love with you. So it just shows how really like sadistic this motherfucker is, really, honestly, because he's a creep, okay? So again, with that going on, it obviously caught me off guard, because I was really expecting like a Yakuza love story, and bitch, this is gonna be far from it. But I definitely will see myself, obviously, because I bought so many of the fucking volumes. So I'm gonna be reading the bitch, okay? I am gonna read them, but it's just gonna be, I just need a little breather. I will say this much, I really genuinely do feel you guys will be seeing the second volume in February, because again, like I said, I've learned with certain volumes and certain series, you gotta kind of just keep reading them, keep reading a couple of volumes, then come with your opinion. And even though I gave it 3 stars, I didn't hate it, I didn't absolutely love it, because it wasn't really what I was expecting, but I didn't hate it. So I feel like a 3-star right in the middle is good for now, but it has time to build up to even higher ratings. But I did hear that the more you continue reading, the more he's just something else. He's something else. That's what I've heard. So yeah, Yakuza Fiancé Volume 1, bringing it in at 3 stars. Alrighty, so the next book that's coming in at 3.5 stars is another manga volume, and it's going to be Something's Wrong With Us by Natsumi Endo. This is coming in at 3.5 stars. Now, I gave it the 0.5 because, again, I feel like this was another series that I didn't hate, but I didn't love either. It was just kind of in the middle. But I think I gave it a 0.5, a little bit more than the Yakuza Fiancé, because I did, I guess you could say, love it a little bit more than Yakuza Fiancé, because I like the plot of it, but it's also a little bit confusing at times. I felt like I was a little bit confused because it's supposed to be about this girl who her mom was like a stay-in pastry chef, if you will. They stayed at this, I guess you would say, like a hotel of some sort, and she stayed with her mom. They like stayed in help. They would stay in help, I guess that's what you would call them. And she was a pastry chef, and she really loved it there. She loved being there with her mom. And then you have this guy who was he was a kid. Obviously they both were kids, and so they used to play together and stuff. But you got little scenes where you can see his parents thought less of her and her mom, because obviously they were like, quote unquote, the help. So with that being the case, they really, you know, kind of looked down upon her and would tell him like, oh, you don't really need to hang around in their headquarters, like, because they had like their own little designated area where they could live in the place and stuff like that. So you have those bits of scenes where you can see his parents looking down upon her and her mother. So they kind of like, I feel like, taught that to him in a way. Not really taught, because he didn't really show any signs of him putting her down or anything, but you saw those scenes where they said that stuff to him and how he shouldn't hang out or play with her and stuff like that. And so everything was going good, everything was going fine, and then next thing you know, I want to say, was it his father or it was somebody who was big and connected to the family, ends up dying, and it's like, oh my god, who killed him, what happened? And I want to say when he was little, he was in the room with him. I don't know if he was in the room or maybe he was just trying to check up on him, because he ended up having a whole bunch of blood on him in the scene. And next thing you know, like, I'm guessing he may have found him, and he might have been some relative to him. I don't know if it was his dad. I think it might have been. I think it was his dad. Don't quote me again. I read this quite earlier in January, so I don't really remember. And it don't even really say in the synopsis, does it? No, it doesn't say who was quote unquote murdered, but he ends up finding them, and they ask him what happened, and then he ends up telling them that it was her mother that killed either his father or whoever the family member was. And so of course when that happens, they ended up taking her mother and putting her in jail. She ended up having to go into, I think, the foster system or something like that, because obviously she didn't have her mom. And so that's how that pretty much starts. And then she ends up taking on the role of also being a pastry chef. She takes it after her mom, and she's like working in like little businesses and stuff like that. But she ends up getting fired because the dude was talking about, he constantly kept getting emails about her as an employee, and all the emails were pretty much saying that her mother is a killer. So she can never keep the job because they kept harassing her. And it's like, okay, I'm not saying, like, we don't really know if the mama really killed the person or not, because I mean, obviously we didn't see any art that illustrated her doing anything crazy, right? But I'm like, what they gotta do with her? Like, why y'all fumbling her bad because her mama might do something? Like, come on now. But she ends up getting an opportunity to compete with another baker, and trying to compete to become this girl's wedding bakery pastry person, like for her wedding. And she did a really great job. She really did. She actually ended up, because we ended up finding out it's him. She's competing against him. Obviously, I don't think he remembers her, but she obviously remembers him, because I mean, you kind of fucked up her whole life saying that her mama had killed whoever the person was. So she ends up actually really doing better than him. But of course, they're gonna choose him anyway because of his legacy and his name. He has a more established name than her, because she's what? Who is she? Nobody. But he, you know, he kind of got like, he got a name, okay? So hence why it was so quick to just lock her mama up for murder of this person with that same name, because they got, you know, they got weight to their name. But honestly, I think I gave it a 3.5 because, like, at some points it didn't make no sense. Like, it's supposed to be like a romance in a sense, but also kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Revenge, like a romance and a revenge story at the same time. And that's what really confuses me, like how that romance starts between them two, because he ends up saying something to her and he's like, marry me, and it just comes out of nowhere, and he's like, I'm just kidding. She's like, no, I'll marry you. And it could be the sense of her knowing who he is, so she's trying to hurry up and get in good with him so she can get her revenge plot on, or also find more detail as to who murdered the dude for real, and not her mom. Because at this point her mom's dead. I think her mom died in the jail because she reached a certain age, and then some strange man comes up to her. It's like, hey, I was real good friends with your mother. She was a great like baker and everything like that. And then he hands her a letter. At the end of the volume, she opens up the letter and it shows that her mom had wrote to her saying that she didn't do it. And that's how the volume ends off. So yeah, obviously got that mystery / thriller type aspect, but it's supposed to be romance, and then you got the revenge story plot. So again, I think that's where the 0.5 came in, because again, this is another series that I'm gonna have to read the second volume just because, you know, it's gonna build more. I know it's gonna be more. Again, by the first volume it's 3.5, but I feel like it has the momentum to build in the ratings for the other volumes. And again, I bought all the other volumes, so I ain't gonna have no choice but to read them. So yeah, but again, Something's Wrong with Us Volume 1 came in at 3.5. Alrighty, so now for the rest of these books, they are all on my Kindle. My Kindle, my sweet old beloved Kindle. My Kindle was being read. Okay, we love her. We're prioritizing her this year because, I mean, also, you know, my TBR, my physical TBR, we gotta prioritize those books as well, because I'm really trying to like cut back on spending on books and shit. So she's gonna be coming in clutch, okay? And she came clutch in this month because all the books I'm going to be talking to you guys are on my Kindle, so I have to post pictures up here for you guys. So again, the next book that I'm coming to you guys with is another 3.5 book, and this is At the End of It All by Ray Least. I don't know how to pronounce it, her last name, but you guys can see the book here. This is a sports romance. 3.5. I gave it a 3.5 because I feel like with it being 520 pages, the romance should have been a little bit more of a slow burn for me. I think I would have enjoyed it more, and I would have gave it a higher rating if it was not so fast. Like, it almost seemed instant, and it was giving, why is it instant? Why do you like this dude? I don't understand. I don't like that. But anyways, also, I don't mind reading a book about a character who's a little bit more dominant, if you will. I love it. I love reading books where the male character is dominant. But I don't know, it was something about, I guess maybe because he was in college, it was like, why are you acting all it was just very repetitive, the things he would say. And it just kind of, at first it was like, oh, okay. And then eventually it got to like, this is weird and this is awkward and I'm uncomfortable. Like, honestly, it went from that point to that point very fucking quick, very fucking easy. What I feel like, out of 520 pages, every single page, twice on that page, he's saying some very creepy, quote unquote, dominant alpha type shit. It's just very weird and creepy, and I need you to stop. It was cute a little bit at the beginning, but now it's getting uncomfortable. So that was another thing I didn't like. Also, another thing, I didn't like, I just felt like the imagery of it all was kind of a little bit interesting, if I do say so myself. So again, like I said, he was originally the star, the big top-notch dude who was on the UCLA basketball team. Okay, stay with me now. Now he didn't hit rock bottom because he did some shit, and now he pretty much has to get knocked down because, again, you did some crazy stuff, right? So they say now he's playing at HBCU. Do you get that imagery? Like, you're at the top of your game, so you're pretty much playing at a predominantly white institution, but now that you're like, nobody gives a fuck about you, oh, now he gotta play HBCU, a predominantly black institution. It's just giving why that imagery of it, if I'm being honest. Not okay, I'm being honest with you, I went to a PWI. I ain't gonna cap, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, it was a little side eye, if I do say so myself. It was a little side eye. I had to get to that. And yeah. Now, even though I didn't really too much enjoy it, because again I gave it a 3.5, I will check out more of her books. I would definitely check out more of her books, because I think in fact, why I'm saying that, like, I'm not reading another book of hers right now. I'm reading the Endgame from her right now as we speak, and I'm enjoying it so far. So we're gonna see. You'll see that in February's wrap up. But yeah, 3.5. It was okay. It wasn't the best book, but it wasn't the worst. But I did quite enjoy it to give it a 3.5, but it wasn't the best. So yeah. Alright, so now you guys, let me see, do I have, okay. Now we're getting into the 4 stars. They're coming in at 4.75. Now I know this is going to sound hella crazy. But coming in at 4.75 is going to be none other than On Us, Book 1 by Nina. That's coming in at 4.75. Now I know you're going to say, girl, you just said you DNF'd it because it was ghetto and toxic and abusive and pedophilia was in it and everything like that. Yes, that is facts. But again, like I said, it was an intro. It was an introduction to all these freaking characters in the storyline. So I was like, okay, maybe it'll get better. And bitch, it just never got better by book 2. So I was just like, no, I can't do it. But I really did enjoy it for what it was. I had to take it with a grain of salt. I ain't gonna cap. But it was just so much. The main character, we first get introduced to her, Avery, her name. We get introduced to her in an abusive relationship. Like, the dude she's dating, like, was beating on her for an entire year, but she continued to make excuses for it and, like, stay in the relationship, even though she was aware that he was, like, obviously toxic as fuck. And you guys already know how I feel about books like that. I don't like that. I just don't. I can't do it. But that's going on with her. And also, let me not forget how we end up finding out how they even started dating in the first place. They started dating because his name's Kai. K-Y. Kai was friends with Avery's sister's man, whose name is Vant. So let's just give you the 4 main characters for right now. You have Avery, who's the top main character. You have Ivy, who is Avery's sister. You have Vant, who is Ivy's boyfriend and also like a big brother to Avery, because they pretty much grew up very close. And then you have Kai, who used to be Vant's best friend. Okay, those are the 4 main characters. So, as of right now, Kai ends up messing around with Avery. But when they start messing around, Avery at the time was at the age of 15. He at the time, I want to say, was at the age of 20. So we can already see the dilemma here. Yes? Okay. So, obviously when that all hits the fan, Ivy obviously doesn't approve, and Vant don't be fucking with him no more either, because obviously it's giving pedophilia. Okay? So, no. And so, I mean, Vant, Ivy, and Avery's relationship becomes a little strained, because obviously Avery is taking up for it and making it seem like, oh, she wanted this relationship and shit. I'm just like, bitch. So it's already a lot of strikes. It's already a lot of strikes in the beginning of the fucking book, okay? Let's just be honest. It's already a lot of strikes, okay? But, so their relationship is a little strained. Years go forward. They're still in a relationship. They're actually engaged. They're engaged. Oh, God. Engaged. But mind you, this fool been beating on her ass for a whole year. Also, let me not forget why he been beating her ass on for a whole year, even though it don't really make no excuse or nothing. But he been beating her ass for a whole year because he's stressed out because he done cheated on her and got another girl pregnant. You see what I'm talking about the ghetto-ness of it all? And I'm just leaving it at that. I ain't even say no more, because if I say any more, baby, we're gonna be here all day. And I know you don't want to be here all day. You already know I got long enough videos as it is. So I ain't even gonna keep going. But that's just to give y'all a taste of the ghetto shit I was going through with this fucking book. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's not even the whole entire shit under the water, okay? So we're just gonna leave it at that. I did give it a 4.75 because, I mean, girl, it had drama. It was juicy. And, you know, I was like, okay, let it be this crazy in the beginning. But hopefully book 2 and 3, they'll simmer it down. Baby, 60-some%, book 2, they did not simmer down. It just kept building up. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this book down. We're going to DNF it. And I did. And so, yeah, that was that. So again, coming in at 4.75, it's going to be On Us Book 1 by Nina. So, now we're heading into my 5-star reads. I think we have a total of 3 books that are 5 stars. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the first one, which was actually the first book that I read in 2024, and it was a 5 star, so that was really good. And this is also by Nina. This is called Lemon Pepper. Okay, this also had like 400 plus pages, so this was a pretty thick book too. Again, I have all the pictures up for you guys so you guys can see. I gave this one a 5 stars. Now this again was the book that came out in 2023 versus the On Us series that came out in 2020. So obviously there was definitely some growth, okay? So if you guys are like scared to read her books, I definitely suggest reading Lemon Pepper, and you will not be scared, baby. You will not be let down. Because Lemon Pepper was chef kiss, okay? I love the plot, the story, the plot twists, the drama, and the romance. That's another thing about the On Us series. I realized that was not considered a romance series, and I'm very happy it wasn't, because bitch, wasn't nothing romantic about none of that shit in that fucking book. But this one was, and it was 10 out of 10. I love the characters, okay? I love the plot. Okay guys, again, I really enjoy the story, and I can go ahead and read you guys the synopsis, which is very short of the book. It says, how did you meet the love of your life, your forever person? 2 people seemingly form different worlds with many connections find themselves intertwined in a whirlwind of emotional, chaotic, and yet beautiful and healing bonding. What one couldn't be for themselves, they found in each other. And that is the synopsis of it, okay? And it was really, it was just so cute, so sweet. And let me just say this. My favorite character in the series, Okie Pokey. I love him, Oak. Guys, if you check this book out, it's a character in there named Oak. And you can't tell me you won't fall in love with him. Because how can you not fall in love with him? Because he's like the most amazing character ever. And he honestly is one of my like top characters of 2024. And I know it's just January or February, but I don't care. He's one of my top characters of 2024 already. He's such a sweetie pie. I love him. I love everything about him, okay? But yeah, that's the little synopsis of Lemon Pepper. It's coming in at 5 stars. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It was a great read. Alright, you guys, the next book that I have that's coming in at 5 stars is Last Stop from Innocence, and this is by Takira Allen. Again, I have the picture here, and I'll go ahead and read you guys the synopsis here. So the synopsis here reads, a nostalgic tale of first love, first loss, and the budding womanhood of a black girl in the 90s. Tragedy flips Amore Brown's world on its axis before she heads off to college. Having to sit tight for the summer, she chooses Jersey City, New Jersey, the home of her estranged father, to pass time. Here in urban grit, a stark contrast from the comfort of the suburbia, she reconnects with a long-lost cousin for some final months of summer excursions and rooting and evolving. But it could never be so simple, even if it were all so simple then. Girls just want to have fun, transform into a kindling of summer romance tucked into the crust of good times, tribulations, close calls, and one hot summer in Jersey. Amore meets the guy, finds solace for fresh wounds, and battles the thorny relationship with her father, all while learning headaches has no limits. But how much will Amore have to lose to find herself? On the road to womanhood, she's becoming and removed from the girl she is no more. One stop changes her path forever. So that is the synopsis of Last Stop from Innocence, and baby, girl, blowing snot bubbles, crying, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Okay, you will cry. period. And you will be, it was just very, very, very good read. It was so heartwarming. And she also ended up releasing a love letter from Amor, which is the main character of the book, kind of giving us a little tea that it might be a second book to this in a way. I don't know, but if it is, baby, ooh, I'll be picking this book up so quick. This is one of the books that was very, very sad that's not actually like a physical copy of. You can only read it again on Kindle Unlimited. You cannot read the book anywhere else because you can't like buy a physical copy, or you can also listen to it on Audible. But yeah, I really wanted this book to be physical so I can like have it on my shelf, because yes, you guys, I'm still coming to you guys with a shelf organization, because baby, my shelf's still the fucking same. They have not moved one bit. So I will be doing a, you know, bookshelf organization video. Be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I was just so upset that book could not be like a physical copy, because I really wanted to add it to my shelf. But again, coming in at 5 stars is going to be none other than Last Star from Innocence. And now, last but not least, the last book that is coming in of January 2024 at 5 stars is going to be none other than The Oath by T.M. Richardson. Okay, again, I gotta shout out Memes, because she is the one who found this book, and she recommended it to me because she knew I was on the prowl, if you will, for reverse harem, black reverse harem books. Okay, because I read reverse harem from like Smoggy. She's my girl. She is a queen, a legend, but she also works like interracial reverse harem, so like black girl with non-black man, which again 10 out of 10 recommend. But I also was kind of just looking for some like variety, so I wanted to see if like there were some black erotic books out there, because again, when I see erotic, I don't really see a lot of like the black authors or the ones that are of black characters aren't really pushed a lot. Like I see them for like obviously white characters, and pretty much that's it really. I don't really see for any other demographic, like, you know what I'm saying. So I was just like, I'm looking for some. If you guys know any reverse harem ones, okay, if you know some, you know, let your girl know. Comment them down below. But she found this one for me. It's called The Oath. And baby, I'm buying the physical copy of this book, period. Because it is a physical copy. And I also heard that it's like has like some special edition like art in the book as well. But baby, this book, the smut, amazing. It was like 200 and something pages, so it wasn't something too crazy. Now the thing about this is it says book 1 of 1. I don't know, maybe it's just gonna be one book. That's sad, because I really wish, but they called the Secret Series, so maybe it might be more than one. I don't know. I really wish it was, because I loved everything about this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read you guys synopsis to give you guys a little insight of what the book's about. It says, does a second chance at happiness include your husband's 3 best friends? Miles, Deacon, and Cassidy are Franklin's best friends, brothers in every sense of the word. When Franklin asks his brothers to do something unorthodox as his dying wish, the trio has some reservations. When they tell his widow about the oath that they were bound in brotherhood to uphold, will she run or embrace a new phase of her life that includes the 3 of them? Tatum thought she'd found forever until tragedy struck. When her husband of 22 years dies, Tatum feels her world has ended. Little does she know that Franklin's last request opens a Pandora's box to something even greater and fulfilling than she ever imagined. Will dating 3 men open her world and give her a second chance at happiness? And that is the synopsis. Now again, I just realized this was released January 2nd, 2024. So this came out this year. And bitch, oh, it was so good. It was so good. That's why I had to say the best for last. Honestly, it was the last book that I finished in January. But bitch, that shit was so good. Oh my gosh. That was ridiculous. I loved every bit of it. I even love Franklin for his little piece of when he was, because he actually is a little bit in the story before he eventually passes away. So you get a little bit of him in it, and I loved everything about it. Everything. And I really wish it was a continuous series, because I need more of it. And now I really got to keep my eye on Miss T.M. Richardson, because I love the writing, I love the characters, I love the smut, I love everything about it. I just knew I was gonna love it. That's why I read it so quick, because honestly I would have waited to read it this month, because again, as you guys know, it's February and it's Black History Month, so let's just combine those two together. So just best believe you're gonna be seeing some reading vlogs of some black romances and stuff like that. I actually have one that's also like a polyamorous black relationship stuff going on that I plan on reading. I'm probably gonna do a reading vlog of that as well. But you guys, that book, The Oath by T.M. Richardson, definitely highly recommend if you like reverse harems, if you like, you know, I think it's a part of a like Why Choose series. That's what it said on Amazon. It has like Why Choose in the title, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel, especially for like the love triangle books. Like, why I gotta choose? Why we can't just all be together? You feel me? But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I know I never really say this in the beginning. I need to start saying this in the beginning, but please give the video a big thumbs up. Hit the like button. I really would appreciate you guys liking the videos as well. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. And yeah, you guys, that is my January wrap up. I know you guys probably wondering where's Rocky, because he has not done anything this entire time I've recorded this video. He's actually in the cage just sleeping. The door's open, but that's where his bed is, and he's sleeping. He's actually snoring a little bit. You probably can't hear him because he heard me say his name, so then he stopped because he swore he'd be sleeping, but for some reason I say his name or I do something, he's looking at me. So you're really not sleeping. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.